Can you all believe it? We're in March. Wasn't it just New Year's the other day? New Year's is great, but all those resolutions that we made, we are focused on March now because we made some wellness goals in January and here we go. But this is financial wellness goals. So I'm so excited for all of you that are the Women's Wellness Journey for this free webinar that we do on the first Tuesday of every month. You all, I am excited for you to meet Renita. She's going to be on video here in just a bit, but she's going to go through her presentation. She's going to answer some beautiful questions from you all. But let me introduce you to her. All right. So I'm going to read my blurb about her because I want to get it right because this is phenomenal information. Okay. Renita Ejiofor is a financial professional. She is with Five Rings Financial, where she helps families build clarity, confidence, and long term security around their money. With a background in healthcare and a passion for education, Renita is known for breaking down complex financial concepts into simple, practical steps people can actually use. She is the creator of Financial ICU. It is a weekly educational platform where she approaches financial literacy in the same way that nurses approach patient care by assessing the situation, stabilizing what's urgent, and creating a plan for long-term wellness. That's not all. Let's talk more about Financial ICU. It is a part of her broader mission to help people like meet them where they are and empower them to take control of their financial health without the fear of shame. Let's go. Outside of her professional work, Renita is devoted. She has a gorgeous family and she's a proud mom of five. Her hubby is just so sweet as ever. And her lived experience balancing family, faith, and finances, those fuel her commitment to helping others create financial plans that support both their present lives and future goals. Renita, I am so excited for this information and please take it away.
Well, hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us on the Women's Wellness Journey podcast. I'd like to give a huge shout out to such a great leader of women, Connie Street. She's done a fantastic job in spearheading women's wellness and making sure women know how to best take care of themselves. And I'm super grateful for this opportunity. So thank you so much, Connie, for allowing me to be on your podcast today. This presentation is about 30 minutes, and what I'm going to discuss with you is something that I find to be near and dear to my heart, which is life insurance with living benefits. I am a division leader within Five Rings Financial and have been super blessed with the opportunity to educate not only women, but also husbands, partners, spouses on why it's important to have life insurance with living benefits. So we're going to go ahead and hop into this presentation today. The one thing I kind of want to make sure people understand of why it's so important to me that we talk about this type of life insurance is because of what I had seen firsthand in the field as a registered nurse. Not only on the clinical side, but I had the opportunity and blessing to be able to do home health for approximately about 10 years. And I've seen what happens when you leave the clinical aspect of healthcare and what happens at home. And so I really wanted to find a field as I transitioned out of healthcare in a way that I could also continue to help impact families. And this is one thing that nearly as soon as I heard about it, I said, why do people not know about this type of life insurance? Because it is so necessary, because we are all or have all faced someone in our households who have faced these type of crises. And what have we been able to do in those situations to get through it? And a lot of times it's with a lot of survival. You're just surviving through it. So I kind of wanted to touch base on what life insurance is. This is a contract that provides this is a contract that provides financial protection for your loved ones. You pay a premium. As long as you pay that premium, then the insurer pays the benefit upon your death. This is what we like to call the old school traditional life insurance. The traditional use is income replacement in case someone goes too early. Final expenses, as we know, those burial expenses can be pretty taxing on a family. And then also to leave some type of legacy for those who are still here and need to survive past the point of someone passing away. So the reason that I am so passionate about living benefits is because they give you access to your policy while you're alive. So I know we have all met someone in our lives that have had some type of chronic illness, critical illness, or even a terminal illness. The wonderful thing about these type of benefits is they help protect your health and also your wealth. This aligns with wellness. As we are on the Wellness Women Wellness Journey podcast, this ties directly into that because we all know that stress can play havoc on a body. And so, why do women especially need this? Well, you might be surprised to find out that women live longer than men. Go figure, go figure. They also take career breaks for caregiving. They may have less in retirement savings as they are generally the caregivers, and they need coverage for caregiving and health events. So living benefits, it supports income when life happens, because even though generally speaking, not always, but the woman is the caregiver of the home, if something was to happen to her, it costs a lot of money to replace not only her but the activities, services, the needs of the family that she meets daily. And so if I was to tell you anything at all, that would be the main person you need to insure. Not only the woman in the household, but any partner who is also income gaining in your household. So meaning whoever goes out and brings in that income to keep the household going, those are your crucial people in a household to make sure that if anything happens, you have the backing. So I decided to go ahead and give you just a quick synopsis, a scenario of a $500,000 death benefit policy with living benefits. Now, these are just examples, and I want to read the disclaimer first. Complete acceleration of policy depletes the policy. All claims are submitted to the insurer, and the insurer will determine the benefits payable. So this also is a point that I want to note is that your policy pays out if your life expectancy changes. So think about that. So sometimes you may get, for example, a quick something that someone would know is you might get a melanoma on the skin, and your physician may go in and be able to remove that melanoma. Well, yes, it is a type of cancer, but most of the time it does not change your life expectancy. So you wouldn't be able to necessarily utilize this benefit. Of course, you are free to always submit claims, but you may not be able to utilize that the living benefits portion of your policy. So let's give a couple of examples in which you would be able to utilize this policy because the life expectancy changed. So the first example I have is someone who is diagnosed with a critical illness. Well, at that point, that person could possibly accelerate up to between 0 and 78.8% of their policy. Again, depending on the severity of the illness and the changes to the life expectancy. On a policy of $500,000, that can be anywhere from 0 to $394,000. Something I want to point out is just because you have an illness doesn't mean you have to use this policy. Some people, because they do have the illness, they realize that they may not be approved for another life insurance policy. So they may choose to not accelerate any of the policy at this time to make sure that they have something readily available for the family upon death. Okay. So you don't have to accelerate if you don't want to. It's a choice, but it's nice to have these choices. Another example would be the chronic condition. It limits your ability to work, which means that you can't do 2 out of 6 of the activities of daily living. Some examples would be feeding, toileting, or transfers. This would have to continue on for at least 90 days following the incident. In this situation, you would receive a monthly stipend of between $0 and $35,100 for up to 50 months. Now, You don't have to utilize all that. You can just decide you want to do it for 1 year, and you can get a lump sum at that time. It just depends on how you want to utilize your benefits. The other example is terminal illness. This is less than 2 years to live per your physician. You can accelerate pretty much all of the policy, which would be an acceleration between 0 and $429,000. I do want to again state that if you accelerate the complete amount that is offered to you, then that does terminate the policy. So once you utilize those benefits, you no longer have any benefits remaining. So in these situations, this is where it comes in to be a blessing because you've been given these options. So some of the common myths about life insurance, I know we've all heard these. It's only for old people. Okay. As I'm aging, I don't know about that so much. But another one is I'm too young to worry about life insurance. Insurance doesn't help me while I'm alive. But the truth is life insurance protects you today and tomorrow, especially the type of life insurance that I'm speaking about. So it's good to kind of bust some of those myths, so to speak. There are different types of policies that are offered with living benefits. The one that is most common is the term life insurance with living benefits. And excuse that name, Roger, on the end. I think that was just a typo. So there's no one, if there's a Roger on here, please, I'm not talking about you. Then we also have the permanent life insurance, which is the whole and the universal. There's also indexed universal and cash value policies, which are also options. Each policy has different features, and that's something that you really want to sit down and have a conversation about to make sure that you understand what your options are. How living benefits work. So your policy builds up value, and it includes riders. If you have a qualifying health event that happens, again, that could be cancer or stroke, ALS, MS, you can access a portion of your benefit early, and your funds can be used however you need them. I like to tell people this fact because I don't believe a lot of people realize this particular type of policy. When you receive those funds, it is tax free. Yes, tax free. If anyone else is tired of paying taxes, this is an opportunity for you to be able to utilize money without taxes. I don't know where we can steer you wrong there. So, how does this support your wellness? It reduces financial stress. It helps you focus on healing. It protects your family's future, and it enhances your peace of mind. And let me tell you something. That is something that you should be able to hold near and dear. Okay. Questions to ask your advisor. Does my policy include living benefits? What health conditions are covered? How does payout affect my death benefit? And are there any additional riders I can consider? Okay. Now, I hope you see me with this red heart sweater on and these boots. Let me tell you, it was my birthday that day. And I'm telling you, I was feeling and looking good at this convention we attended for Alliance Group, which is actually the umbrella company over all of these products that we utilize within Five Rings Financial. It was a complete honor to be able to attend that event, be chosen one out of 350 out of 13,000 agents. So it was a blessing. So, here's the next steps. I'm here to answer questions. We can review your current coverage. I can offer custom plannings to protect you, and we do not charge for what we do. So you have an opportunity to come in for a consultation, sit down, review your plan. We do what's called a needs analysis. And basically what that is we do a deep dive into your budget. We do a deep dive into your finances and figure out where you're spending your money. There was one thing that I can tell you that is most noted. When people have an opportunity to go over their last 2 months of how they're spending their money, they also notice that maybe they have a couple streaming services that they didn't realize they were still paying for. They may have different plans that you signed up for. For example, you might have signed up for Microsoft 360 and you haven't been utilizing that for over a year. That might be something you no longer need. There are other things that when you go through your budget, you may say, hey, I'm probably eating out just a little bit too much. And so you may want to step back and and cut back on some of those outings. Also, putting yourself on a grocery budget. That's something else that we help people do. And so, what it does is it helps you to see where your money is going so you can create that plan. Because one thing you do not want to do is in 20 years, ask your previous self, why didn't we thank ourselves in the next 20 years? Because you want to take good care of yourself as you age. So, there are ways you can contact me. My number is 405-404-7105. You can call that number pretty much anytime or text. That is my business line, but I'll let you know for sure. I only work 9 to 2 on that line. So I will get back to you in that time frame. Our website where you can check us out and see what services we offer. And also because I love to do a good Google search to make sure that we are a verifiable business. You can go to www.5ringsokc.com. And my email is here. It's renita.ejiofor@outlook.com. If you have any questions, you are free to reach out to me. I think I said it was going to be 30 minutes, but as I'm looking at it now, it's about 15 minutes. So that is the end of my presentation. Let's see here, and I'll wait for Connie to come back to us.
Well, if anybody was watching this on their lunch break, they're going to have plenty of time to get back to work because, us in the healthcare field, we only have a few minutes to do our thing. There you are, Renita. You did so good. That was so helpful. We have some questions, but one of
Sure.
my biggest takeaways that I took from what you said is most people think that they're too young. And then
Mhm.
there's times when people think, well, I'm not going to do that until I get older. And then there's this age gap of people who have money and don't know where to put it.
Mhm.
And your services are beneficial even on the outside of the sandwich.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's really one thing I can tell you is it's better to get started when you're younger, because you're healthy. And you don't have any of the we call them comorbidities, or conditions. You don't have any of those. So you don't have any reason why your insurance would be so expensive, your life insurance. But the older you get, there is a investigation that is done when you sign up for life insurance. It's through the Medical Investigations Bureau, MIB. And what they do is they run anytime you went to the doctor, you went to urgent care, anytime your name pops up with your date of birth, pretty much, that's attached to you. So it doesn't matter what state you're in. So when they pull that information and they see whether you're super healthy or maybe you have some issues that can cause them to have a liability, then that creates a problem where your insurance could be higher or you may not get approved. And that's unfortunate as well.
Wow. Well, we had a lot of people who knew about this webinar and knew that you were going to be speaking. So, girl, I was busy plugging in all those questions. So feel free to answer the ones you want. So I'm going to let you pick out the ones, but I did put a bonus question in there. So just, feel free to take a little gander at that. And I'm excited. Like, share with us what you know, girl.
Hold on, is it in the chat? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, oh, there it is. Okay, I see it. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, what role do mindset and emotional confidence play when someone is trying to improve their financial life? I'm going to tell you, everyone's got to start somewhere. Okay. So none of us come out with the crystal ball, the ball to tell us how our finances are going to be, how our life is going to be set up. None of us are blessed with that ball. So know that any person who generally is in the financial industry also started in the same place as other people. It starts with education. So once you educate yourself on how money works, then you're going to have a better opportunity to make sure that your future self is able to manage money a little bit better. I love to say that we go to school for 12 years, but they don't teach us anything about money. And so you have to literally go out and seek that education. And that's why I love what we do so much, is because we have events called Money 101 where you can come and learn about the foundation of money, protection, and distribution, because most people don't even realize how their 401k is distributed and how long that's going to last. We also have an event called Wine Women and Wealth, in which women can come to in a very comfortable environment and learn a financial topic and then talk amongst other women. So that way they're a little bit more comfortable, because generally speaking, most of the time women do not necessarily understand. I won't say understand. Most time women generally are not in charge of the money in the household. They have a partner who brings the money in. And I say that with an asterisk, because women do control the money. We choose what restaurants we're going to eat at. We choose where we're going to do our grocery shopping. We choose where we're going to buy our kids' clothes. So sometimes it's just a mind shift that we have to build that confidence. So that's a great question. Thank you for asking.
Real quick. So
Yes.
you breezed by some really delicious opportunities
Yeah.
for there's opportunities you said that are specifically for women, and then there are some that are co-ed.
Mhm.
How would somebody who's watching this, how would they, I know you shared a website, would they
Mhm.
be able to email you if they wanted to get on your calendar?
Yes, you can contact me, and what I would do is I would get you all, and that's a good thing. I don't need your blood type. I don't need your address. I don't need any of that stuff. Just your name and your email and your phone number, and we can get you booked for any of our events. I keep a calendar of all of our events. So if you reach out to me, I'll send you a copy of that. You let me know which ones fit into your schedule. I do that monthly, and then I would send you the calendar invite, which has all the details of the event.
Now, is it the same thing over and over again at the events, or do they change it up?
Money 101 is the same every time you come. It's going to be delivered exactly the same way. But the other events, such as Wine, Women, and Wealth, we change topics every month, and we have 3 of those events throughout the city. If you go to one event in January and you go to the first one at the first of the month, it's still going to be the same topic for the next 2 events with Wine, Women, and Wealth, but it's still an opportunity for you to learn something new. Mhm.
Good to know. All right, girl, we've
Mhm.
got more questions. Let's go. I'm excited.
Let's see here. If someone was attending today, wanted to take just one step this week towards improving their financial future, what would you recommend they do first? I would recommend you go through your bank account and look at your checking account, see where your debits are, where your credits are, see how much money you're spending every month. I think sometimes when we get paid, we think we have this plethora of money, but then when you start taking out your rent or your mortgage, you start taking out your electricity and your water and all those things, you see that you don't have as much money as you thought you did. And the best thing that you can do with that is put yourself on a budget. It's not easy. I'm not going to sit here and lie and tell you it is. And you're going to have some times where you're going to have to cheat a little bit to keep yourself happy, right? But I would start with just looking at your checking account. And the other thing that I would tell you to do is whatever your allowance that you decide to give yourself, pull that in cash. Pull that in cash and keep yourself from swiping that debit card. Let's
Good,
see.
good, good.
Let me answer this question here. Many people hear terms like investments, retirement accounts, or life insurance, but don't really understand them. How do we simplify those concepts for someone brand new to financial planning? So, first of all, I would tell you the easiest way to simplify is to use Google. I know that sounds silly and it sounds just super so simple. It is. And it's just to Google what a retirement account is, Google what life insurance is, and Google what investments. So you understand the basics of the term. Once you understand the basics of the term, you have to decide and it's easier if you take just a little bit of time to decide what your budget is for any of those things anyway. So that's why I say take time to look at your checking account, because you really need to see what could I even spend in those areas? How could I even invest in myself? What could I invest? But I will tell you, $25 a month can be life changing if you started at the right time. So it's not the big investments that people think. It's not the thousands of dollars, hundreds of dollars, or whatever. It sometimes it's just $25 a month that you invest for your future self at age 65. So
That's 5 coffees for 2 trips to a restaurant that's fast
yeah.
food.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's most of the people who became millionaires are not people who became millionaires by having thousands of dollars already. It's just by making those small little investments in themselves, month after month, year after year, and just knowing that they're kind of tucking something away for their future self.
I know that when I do this, I love y'all's program and I do it. I love being able to log in and taking a look at those numbers. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, that was just a year ago. But that was money that I could have put in my bank and did nothing with. Or I
Right.
could have maybe got another pair of shoes that I really don't need.
Yeah.
And now I'm looking at those numbers and I'm like, that's my future money. Wow.
So you're just taking care of your future self. I use that word a lot because I don't think people give that person enough credit. When you're young, everything seems so long. So you have this invincible amount of time, this time that is not necessarily promised. But one day you look up and you're 30 and you're 40 and then you're 50, and then you ask yourself, when that person was 20 years old and just very spunky and full of life and bringing in so much income, or have the opportunity to tuck a little bit away, you ask yourself, why didn't I do that? Just even if it was just that $25. And we have multiple stories we can tell, but we do have a millionaire next door story, and it's just a short story. And I'll tell you that there was a pastor and their wife, and the wife didn't work, and the pastor worked for a very small church, didn't bring in a lot of money. We're talking less than $30,000 a year, because churches don't really have that much money to pay their pastors. And it just happened to be one of our fellow agents went and talked with the pastor and the wife and just had the same conversation I'm having with you now. And they found that they used to go to Applebee's once a month. They spent $50. That was their expenditure. And just because they knew they needed to, they took that $50 and started tucking it away for about 40 years. And as the church would give them, extra stipends or bonuses when the church was doing really well. And, they would take that money and push it into that fund. And, as they got older and the pastor retired, and the wife just decided to call one of our agents and said, hey, the pastor was preaching about those little threads in life. And I just thought I would give you a call. And she said, do you know how much we have in our account? And she said, I don't know. Do you know? And he said, yes. He said, you have over $1 million plus. And they became the millionaires next door. And so it's such a humble story. I love that story. It's one of my favorite stories. We tell it at our Money 101 because sometimes we think of when we think of what am I trying to say? Of us having this large pot of money, this large income when we get older, we think it's going to require a lot, but it's just the $25 a month, the $50 a month, and like you said, it's not things that we miss so much. But you have the
All right. Love it. All right. So what next questions do we have? Do you have time for a couple more questions?
Let's see here. Hold on. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Okay.
You're busy. You're busy. You're probably getting all kinds of calls.
I'm going to answer one more question.
Okay.
This question about the healthcare background. You have a healthcare background. Do you find that people treat their finances the same way they treat their health sometimes, waiting until there's a crisis before addressing? Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's generally when you don't have the money to be able to deal with the crisis. So, being that I do have that healthcare background, I would tell, and I spoke to a room today of business owners who are their key person, meaning that they are the person in their business who, without them, the business doesn't run. It just doesn't work. They're such a key component of it. I told them today, you're doing yourself a disservice by not having life insurance with living benefits because you're in the trenches. You're in the trenches. Most of these people are blue collar gentlemen, and they're out there, with forklifts and driving things that are crazy, and utilizing their bodies in ways that can cause some type of injury or illness, and yet they're not making sure that they're covered. So even having those conversations and those telling those truths, and that's one thing I love about this is I can tell you the truth. I know both sides. I'm not here to sugarcoat it. I'm not here to tell you it's greener on the other side. If you're not prepared, you need to prepare for the just in case. Just like you have homeowners insurance, you have car insurance, you have to have life insurance with living benefits. And the last thing I'll say is the reason I believe in this so much is because most people think when you see people who are rich out in the world, you think, oh my gosh, their parents must have gave them this money and this, that, and the other. It's life insurance. It's life insurance. There was someone back along the way that used life insurance. And the wonderful thing about life insurance is you can keep building that generational wealth because you can invest it and you live off that compound interest. I don't want to get too deep into it, but I will tell you this: get life insurance with living benefits.
I
Get it.
think that's so good because a lot of times people get a job for benefits, but I'm understanding that this is not one of the benefits that people get with a job.
There's not a job that will offer you this type of service. What they will offer you is stuff like writers, like, and I don't want to mention any companies, but you can
Sure.
sign up for something for like a critical care, for a chronic care, for an extended hospital stay. But once you leave that job, that's it. But if you take something outside of your job and sign up for it, such as this carries as long. If you get a term policy that's 30 years, that's 30 years, same price, same cost, no matter what's happening in your life. You don't have to go through another medical exam, nothing. If that's your policy, you own it. And so that's the beauty of having these type of external policies that actually offer you more and probably are, if not the same price, but very comparable to the ones you use with an employer.
I love it. And get it while you're healthy, get it while you're young,
Get
put a little
it.
bit of money in. Next thing you know, you're going to be a millionaire. And
Don't wait. Don't wait. I mean, I could tell you story after story, even one of my own clients who had to utilize her critical rider. She got in a really bad accident and had to utilize it. But she had it. I can only imagine what her life would be like if she didn't have it and have something that was nothing. It was not her fault whatsoever. So,
I'm so glad, Renita, that there are people like you. I think this is such a wellness education opportunity. I'm so thankful that this is something, even though this is called Women's Wellness Journey, that this is something that women can talk to their spouses with. This is something for single women, is what I'm hearing you say. It doesn't mean that you have to be married to get into this. I love all the different things that you all have going on.
you.
So,
And thank
y'all,
you so much, Connie.
good.
I'm happy to be able to be on your podcast. I'd love to come on again. This is just a great opportunity. When it comes to the financial industry, there's so much that I could talk to you about, but there's no way that you want to take it in one session. So if I'm given the opportunity, I'd love to come back and talk to you about a different part of making sure that you have yourself covered financially. But I'm so grateful.
So I know that a lot of times people need to take some time to digest and talk to their significant others or themselves. So just know that inside this video, there is a description. You will have access to all of her information, the website, the phone number, all of that. And one thing that I would ask you to do is I would ask you to share this with 5 friends. Share this information with 5 friends that you know would love to do this. I mean, if anybody would love a one-on-one with Renita and just really just want that focused care because maybe you've just got questions that maybe we didn't cover because Renita's so busy, y'all. We borrowed time from Renita to get in here and do this. So y'all catch her at those events, email her. Like she said, if she didn't get you at 2, she'll get you on the next one. And it's so worth the wait. So thank you, Renita, so much.
Thanks, Connie.
All right, so we'll see you all next month. We'll see you on the first Tuesday of every month at 11 o'clock a.m. until we decide to change it. But right now it's working. So thank you all.